Retail and hospitality is changing, with often complex and fragmented systems combined with large volumes of customer data for businesses to make sense of. It's critical to work with the right partners in order to guarantee success. At Chartec Consulting, we help retail and hospitality businesses transform their technology, removing overly bloated processes and creating unified and efficient systems of working throughout. So don't just take our word for it. See for yourself. Chartec Consulting, the leaders in technology transformation across retail and hospitality.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the All Things Borough podcast. This is episode 2, and we're sponsored by Chartec Consulting. Chartec takes your business visions and turns them into innovative reality. I'm Alan, as usual, and I'm joined by Simon. Good evening, Simon. I've had a hard couple of days at work, so I don't want to talk about my work because it's really annoyed me. Some of the workers that work with us.
I'll talk to you about mine because I haven't done anything. It's been fantastic.
No, we're pointless talking to you about yours because you don't do anything, do you?
Hardest thing about my job was trying to get home tonight. Oh dear.
Yeah. I think the pair of us have got home by the skin of our teeth to get this episode done.
Yeah, literally. My trousers and my boxer shorts was like stuck to my legs when I got out of the car. My God, it was horrendous. Not because I'd had some terrible accident. It's just the weather. It's quite warm. It was. It was hard work, but yeah, good stuff. Yeah, looking forward to tonight's episode because we've got a
So if anyone that's been following us our podcast for the last, but this is 3 seasons now for us. So for the last 3 seasons, you'll see who we've got. Those watching, we've got Charlie Patmore with us. He's a young goalkeeper. The last time we spoke to him, he was at Rayners Lane, or just left Rayners Lane, I should say. And the whole debacle that happened with that. But we're not going to talk about that because that's in the past. But we've got Charlie with us tonight. Good evening, Charlie. How you doing?
Hello, boys. How are you?
Yeah, good. You're looking well, mate. You're looking well. You're training hard?
Yeah. First of all, I just want to say well done to you guys because obviously been listening in when I can, and it's really good to see obviously you guys sort of growing the podcast and continue doing so, and sort of obviously heightening non-league and Farnborough. Yeah. So it's really good to see.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, we're a bit fatter and a bit grayer now, but I talk about Alan when I say that, not me. Obviously, I'm still beautiful.
I know. Well, yeah. I mean, if Simon was able to grow facial hair, he probably would be grey, but he can't do it.
6 months growth there.
Yeah, I mean, I can't comment on that. So
but you're young, Charlie. You're young. He's in his mid-40s and he still can't do
it. Yeah, I mean, I like you, so I won't comment.
He's just jealous, Charlie. Jealous, ignore it.
But look, like I said, the last time we spoke to you was a couple of seasons ago now. With the whole thing that happened with Rayners Lane, like I said, we're not going to talk about that because that's in the past. But you've been quite sort of active in the football world. You've had a couple of clubs on your way through this the last couple of seasons, culminating to. We'll talk about them as we go along. But what happened after? Firstly, what happened after our episode, and then what happened later on after that season? Where did you end up?
Yeah, obviously it was a very, very hard time. There was a lot to obviously process, and obviously I think I said on the podcast at the time, you go from a massive high of sort of a playoff win and cup win, promotion with what I can only say is a fantastic group of people, to being a free agent in the non-league world, which I don't think any player enjoys. But yeah, no, I mean, I ended up going to Southall in the Isthmian League. It was a little bit of a strange move, to be fair, because when obviously the Rayners Lane thing happened, I think it was 2 weeks into pre-season, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And by that time, what I've sort of come to learn is gaffers have their team almost sort of confirmed by week 2. So you're trying to walk into, a group of players or, some sort of changing room, which is already sort of settled. So I sort of had a bit of a delayed start. I think I played my first game in October. So I missed two months in the season, which is really sort of out of character of
It's
me.
a big chunk for a player. It's a big chunk of season to not be playing in.
100%. I had some really good opportunities. So I was on trial at a few sort of National League teams. Again, being honest with myself and everyone, I knew that nothing was probably going to come from it because I'm walking in as a step six player, and I'm going up against people that are sort of coming down instead of up, so coming out of the academies and whatnot. So I just used it as really good experience to sort of get a feel for the level and sort of a taste for the level and see what your day-to-day pros are doing and how they sort of mentally and physically look and sort of say and feel.
So what happened with Southall then? So am I reading this? I've had a little sort of look, and so you only lost one game in all the games that you played for Southall.
Yeah, it does look very pretty when sort of you say it like that. Yeah, no, I mean the gaffer sort of spoke to me. I mean he was really good to me and for me. Taught me a lot,
Yeah,
and yeah, he spoke to me about his keeper was injured. Um, I came in against Thatcham at home. It's my first ever time at step four, and yeah, I think we won 1-0. I think I made like a few good saves, sort of impressed where I could, and yeah, I played the next game after that and sort of stayed in until the keeper came back, and then I sort of ended up being a bit in and out of the team. He had a settled number one who's fantastic,
yeah,
really good young keeper. His name's Eggy. He's unbelievable. So sort of again training with him and obviously we both were sort of fighting for the shirt, which just brought the best out of both of us. But being truthfully honest, he sort of favoured him, so I just got games when I could. But at the end of the season, like he openly admitted to me that I was supposed to just come in for one game, and I ended up
yeah,
getting I think 18 games out of it. So it was definitely better, and I got a dual registration to North Greenford as well, which was really good.
yeah, yeah. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear that. My dog is going mental in the background there, but someone's at the door, obviously.
Is it Charlie's voice setting him off?
Yeah, but yes. So what would it? Because you obviously came from that sort of Rainers Lane club and players and all that. And step six football. Obviously, you got promoted. What you did with them got promoted to step five. But what were the big differences that you found? Because obviously, like you said, that being at Southall at step four was that your first time at that level. So what were the differences? Obviously, because you were coached but managed by your dad at the time. What were the differences between that level, step six, and then going into step four? Because you spent quite a good chunk of your time at Southall in that season. What were the differences there that you thought, wow, this is where I want to be?
It's a really good question, actually. I think, first of all, the pace of the game, and you can see that a lot more people are physical,
Yeah,
and built well, and are sort of maintaining themselves a lot better than what probably you get at step six and step five, where if you're not sort of looking after yourself off of the football pitch,
yeah,
you're going to fall behind.
mm,
So if that's sort of diet, nutrition, whether that may be your gym work. But no, yeah, I think the main one for me was we played Westfield away,
okay,
and there's like 300 people there, and they've all got like
yeah,
Westfield shirts on, and it's just like mental. And my mates were watching a live stream on
yeah,
YouTube of me in the obviously playing, and it's like when you
yeah,
get to that level, it just felt like this is the coverage, the feel, the professionalism, which obviously the manager and the boys at Southall obviously set themselves. But
yeah,
yeah, it just felt really good, and yeah, like I really enjoyed it, and it was obviously like a massive learning for me, and probably at the right time. It was quite a mentally sort of tough time for me, and I think being around the people I was probably correct because they actually helped me a little bit.
mm.
With that. So yeah, it was really good, and obviously step four, obviously I'd done well there, and yeah, obviously I just really enjoyed playing the level.
Where's Westfield's ground? Is it on the is it opposite Woking Football Club, or is it in the car park, or is it where is it exactly? 'Cause it's down the road from me basically. I'm only about 10 miles.
Oh right. You- I think yeah, it's next to Woking. It
Yeah,
definitely is. I think there's a car park that you actually have to park in. Like you have to go get a ticket and park in to park there for free. But
yeah,
and again, but you're turning up and it's like a proper stadium. It's,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
has that feel to it. So yeah, but yeah, no, definitely. I think it is next to Woking.
Yeah, so the road,
I don't know how they sort of cope with if they're both at home, and stuff like that. But yeah, no, it's yeah, that was a game that really stood out for me playing for them.
Were you nervous at all when you could? Because obviously, like you said, like we've said already a couple of times, it's your first time playing at that level at a club like Southall, who are a very reputable club at that level. When it comes to your first game, were you in front of all those fans, knowing that people are, like you say, on YouTube, watching you on YouTube? Was there any nerves going through you, or do you suffer with nerves like that when it comes to playing football at all?
Um, Not
Like I said,
particularly,
because you
no.
seem like quite
Yeah,
we've known you for a little while now, and we talk me and you talk quite often. You seem like quite a sort of level-headed kind of guy that and doesn't sort of let things like this sort of like that sort of rattle you and get to you. Just get on with the
yeah,
game and get on with your job.
yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, I'll probably have to hire you to speak to people for me and represent me with them kind words. But
it's what
yeah,
he's gunning for. He's looking to get into player agencies and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
yeah,
um,
yeah,
no, I mean, how sort of I look at it is with football, and again, being around the right people and having the right influencing people around me,
yeah,
is, like, people talk about pressure, and I remember like a manager telling me that, like, pressure comes from going to work and putting food on the table and paying your bills. Like, football's actually the release.
yeah,
So ever since I've sort of had that in my head, you enjoy it a lot more because you actually turn up and, you think about when you was a kid, you just get the same
mm,
sort of buzz out of it. And I am a massive kid. I mean, I still basically am a kid, but, in my heart, like, yeah, I get so excited when I'm playing football and stuff like that.
yeah,
So there's that element, but also I don't really do my research.
right,
So when I was playing, and even like last season, you know, I don't really. People might go, oh, they've got this player playing and they've got that player playing, and like I just don't take notice of it. Like, I couldn't tell you who their number 9 is and how many goals he
mm,
scored this season. I just turn up. I've got my gloves in my bag. I get ready. I play. I go home. I think sometimes if you sort of overthink it and
yeah,
you look at or how many games they won prior to they've played us and how many goals have they scored, and I remember this was ages ago, but I remember at Rayners Lane there was this team that I was really young. I think I was 17, and they said, "Oh, corners, they're a danger." And I think I'd like come out and I was trying to overcommit on corners, and I just looked awful because I had it in
mm,
my head that they were good at corners, and actually
yeah,
they probably wasn't. It was just more I've been told something and it influenced me. So yeah, no, I just try and just get on with it. I just want to play football. I want to play as good as I can. I don't really want to have time or the headspace to think about sort of the outsider factors. I just want to do what sort of be in control of what I can control.
were you at Southall and dual registered with North Greenford for the whole of last season?
So no, it was the 23-24 campaign.
Yep.
It wasn't last season, but
Got you.
yeah, no, I wasn't. So it happened in about November. Obviously when the goalkeeper came back, there's a good relationship between both clubs. So I sort of got sent out there. I was never particularly settled at Greenford because I was sort of in and out. But I mean, we had a fantastic Vars run, and again, it's another club that, although I was there for sort of a short time, and it never really felt like I was a player. It sort of felt like I was just coming in to help them when either the goalie was injured or I think they had a
yeah,
crisis with keepers that year. So I was just sort of covering. But I mean, they was fantastic to me. And again, another fantastic local sort of community club that, with what they've got given and what facilities they've got, and
yeah,
they make the best of it. So again, obviously, another team I sort of look out for. On a Saturday after I've played, I'd always go and have a look at their results as well.
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so that leads us on to how do you deal like, before we got into your next move where you were this season. But being you say like you were sort of like as a sort of a backup player, backup keeper, just sort of there to help out when people are injured. How do you deal with that? Because obviously you want to play games, you want to have a club that you can call home. How do you deal with that sort of situation where you're sort of in effect sort of bouncing from one club to another?
I mean, it's not in my identity to sort
Mm,
of. I've never really been a bouncer keeper.
yeah,
I like to just settle, and I get really invested in wherever I'm at, and
Yeah.
I sort of get involved with the project. But yeah, I mean, that year, that sort of season, I can openly say I massively struggled mentally,
Mm.
because as I say, I went from one extreme to, you know, not being settled, and I think that sort of really killed me. But again, I had a goalie coach in North Greenford who was fantastic, really helped me out mentally. I had a lot of people around me who, when there was times where I sort of just thought about not packing it in, but just taking a back seat and losing my
Yeah.
drive, that they sort of picked me up. So yeah, I'd probably have to say it's just, if it wasn't for sort of the community and the people around me, probably wouldn't have dealt with it as well as what I probably should have.
Yeah. What about your dad? Because your dad was out of football at this point as well. How much did he of an influence was he behind some of these moves, and did he help you at all while you were in and out like this?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we're not just like sort of family. Obviously, we're best
Yeah.
mates, and it's a very, very strange relationship when sort of your dad's your best mate as well as your dad. But could you end up like speaking to him like it's your mate down the pub, if that makes sense? And it's
Yeah.
just, yeah. But no, yeah. I mean, obviously, he would speak to me. He didn't really want to get too much involved. He wanted to sort of let me
Right.
do my own thing. He obviously agreed with the moves that I was doing. He'd always obviously tell me how to sort of come across and how to deal with certain things. But
Mm.
yeah, I think again, it was such a hard year because it had started so sort of rocky.
Yeah.
Of no fault of anyone's. You're just dealing with a situation, but it was more, we both sort of agreed to get through the year, get things out of it for me. So if that's the step four experience, if that's
Mm.
game time, if that's, memories, he talks a lot about memories, about, when you go to Greenford, when you go to Southall, you want to walk into the ground in 20 years' time and go, oh, do you remember that game that you played and
Yeah.
like how
Yeah.
well it was?
Exactly.
But yeah, no, obviously the main goal was, when it got to about January, it was take this year as a hit because of
Yeah.
what's happened and just get what you can out of it and then reset and go again in
Yeah.
the season just gone.
It's a good mindset and a good mentality to have in that sort of situation. What kind of things do you draw upon to keep that sort of mindset going, and to keep you going in those sort of situations?
I think obviously you've got to have a lot of self-belief, and
Mm.
just because your sort of surroundings have changed or are changing, and you're getting opinions thrown at you 24/7.
Mm.
And it's like in football, there'll be a manager, there'll be a coach that thinks your kicking is as good as a Premier League footballer, and then you'll go somewhere, that'll be on the Tuesday, and then on the Thursday you go to another session and they'll go, look, we can't have you because your kicking's not strong enough. So it's one of them things where I learned from being sort of in the men's game quite a long while now for my age. And I think I've played, I couldn't tell you how many games, but I mean, I think I've done 130 alone for Rainers Lane.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, playing all them games, it's probably matured me,
Mm.
and not being so sort of gullible and sort of open to sort of being bitten, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's just that self-belief really, and just like I say, surrounding yourself with the right people. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know I've already sort of talked about it already on this podcast, but you've just got to have the right network. Like, if your mates are like even my pals, like they'll handle me. Obviously
Mm.
my best mate is obviously Jake Tabor, who's obviously massively in the news at the moment. But like
Mm.
we'll call every Saturday night, and he'll just go. I'll send him a clip, and he'll go, mate, you've got to save that. That's awful. And
Yeah.
likewise, he'll miss a sitter, and I'll go, mate, that's embarrassing. Like, how have you let
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
keeper save
I mean,
that?
he
And
doesn't miss many sitters, does he?
no, but he scores them all. That's the thing. But no, but yeah, so it's just about having the right people around you. And again, like
Yeah.
going back to obviously like my dad, having him around, it's obviously a blessing in disguise. Um, and obviously working with him in football, the reason, as I said, it just is always going to improve you having the right people around you. So
Yeah.
whenever anything happens, just not being gaslighted. And it's always nice to hear that, oh, nah, Chaz, you're unreal, and you're going to do this, you're going to do that. But actually, when I speak to my network of people who I trust, and they're actually giving me the truth, and I might not want to hear it, it's actually long term only going to sort of be beneficial.
Yeah,
you have got to kind of take the rough for the smooth, haven't you? With sometimes with things like that. But like you say, as long as you look at everything with like a open eyes and lose it as a learning experience, it's only better. It's going to be better for you long term, isn't it? So yeah, you said the right things. It's good having a network of people around as well. So, but Farnborough, for example, we've got a really good management team there now, and there's Spencer's built that up over sort of the last 4 or 5 years, and it's really good. And we've added a couple more on this season as well. So all the players there, they also are one of the main reasons why they all either stay or they join is because of the management structure. And I know Spencer's got a really good team of people, and they all add different things. Plus they've also, from your perspective, they've also got a goalkeeping coach, Dave Hill, who works with Jack Turner, our keeper. He's been there for 2 years. Is it 2 years? 2 or 3 years now?
Yeah, for about 3 years
Yeah,
now.
it's really
Wow.
it's really helping him. So yeah, it's really good. So he just works with Jack all the time and just helps him keep him ticking over. It's probably why he's still playing, Jack. To be fair, because he's signed a new 2-year contract as well, which is great. So
Yeah.
I definitely he'll be looking to move on anywhere now. He'll stay at Farnborough till he finishes up, I think. So yeah, this is good. So yeah, he's looking for some pair of boots. So apparently, so yeah. If you can help him out with that,
Yeah.
Charlie, don't know what size
I don't think we can help him out with that. Not for that. Not for the price he's paying.
No. Talking about equipment now, you've got yourself a bit of a deal on some gear, haven't you? Have you got a sponsor for your gloves? You say?
Yeah. Towards the back end of last season, this company sort of reached out to me. Sort of, yeah, used their gloves once or twice. They're really good quality, and I really got on with them really well. And yeah, they just reached out and said sort of they want to supply me with sort of like a little bit of a sponsorship, which is obviously fantastic because Goldie gloves, and again, speaking about equipment, I mean, if you go on Pro Direct now, I mean, you're going through like a grand worth of boots and gloves as a keeper and whatnot a year. So yeah, they're really good though, and fair play for them reaching out. So I've got a lot of Icon goalkeeping is what they're called. So I'd encourage anyone to check them out. I think they're doing like gloves for £20 at the moment. When again, like the professional quality and stuff. So yeah, but no, yeah, it was really surreal when obviously it happened. I was really sort of grateful to go on board and sort of help him out with sort of promoting it, retweeting things and whatnot. But yeah, no, it was really sort of good opportunity for myself. And yeah,
What is it you look for then? Because it sounds like a bit of a silly question, I think. But what is it you look for in goalkeeping gloves for you per se for when you're playing? What is it about these gloves and the gloves that you particularly like that help you?
it's like, I know it sounds really weird, but it's just every goalkeeper is different. Like you'll never ever meet a goalkeeper. You go training with loads, and like you'll see one of them like literally drenching their gloves in water, and you'll see another one like they're like desert dry, and you just think it's the complete polar opposites. But yeah, I mean, for me, they're just comfortable. Like you don't. I like to just not worry about my equipment. Like I just want to have my gloves on and not be thinking about them. So not like feeling restricted, not feeling like they're too tight. It's just hurt and I've just saved a shot. It's whatever. Like it's just sort of something that you can rely on. And they're comfortable. They're durable. They're grippy. So obviously, if anything comes at you, you've got a bit more of a percentage of saving it. But yeah, everyone's different, mate. I don't really look for anything in particular. It's just like I say, just a glove that if I'm having to play with a strap in a game or I'm having to readjust them all the time, I'm not then focusing on the game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like you just want something that you don't need to think about, like you said. It's just just something that's part of you, really.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I'm glad you went into a bit of detail there, because honestly, when Alan answered that question, my first thought was, well, as long as they cover your hands, you know what I mean? That's the main part about it.
Yeah, I mean,
I know what Charlie's saying, because I've seen like gloves where they're like really sticky, and so they just sort of help you grip onto the ball better, and like Charlie said, I've seen keepers where they just drench them in water, and others that don't, and so I don't know. I guess I'm just asking because Simon, my nephew is a budding goalkeeper, playing for Cove Football Club, under 13s now, I think, and he loves it. He loves being in goal, and yes, I was just thinking about him really as he grows up with it and what he needs to look for. And talking to a young keeper like Charlie is good to get some advice.
There you go, icon gloves. There you go. That's what you want to look for. So even you can afford them, mate. £20 for a pair of gloves, bargain, mate.
Yeah, well, I didn't say I was going to buy them for him.
So it's on record now. You're going to have to do it. When's his birthday? Birthday coming up. Yeah, I don't think he's mad enough to be a goalkeeper though. He needs to get a bit more crazy. I think he's a bit too
My
level.
nephew.
Yeah, I think he's a bit too level.
Oh no, yeah, I've seen him play. He's mad as Buck when he plays.
That's what you need to be a bit crazy.
He loves it. He loves it. Martinez, is it Martinez, the Villa keeper?
Yeah,
he's his favourite. He's his favourite keeper.
He's mental, mate. He's
Exactly.
he's got screw loose.
He tries to emulate him. I'm waiting for the day I go and watch. I'm waiting for the day I go and watch my nephew, and he's standing on the side dancing, hip dancing like Martinez does.
I was going to say it's more like Bruce Grover, though, isn't he? He was the first original nut job. Or who's that Harold Schumacher? He's the bloke who came out and decapitated that bloke. That was another one, wasn't he? Harold Schumacher. That was his name. Yeah.
Right, Charlie. Let's go on to this season. The season has just finished. You started it with who were Cockfosters? That was it, Cockfosters. You're playing in Step 5 in the, and it was the Spartan Prem, wasn't it?
Yeah, Spartan South Mid Prem. So
yeah,
Step 5. Yeah.
So tell us how So tell us how that move came about, and how it was for you. But before you start, we've got a couple of stats to let everybody to know. So in the season that you played, and I think you left towards the end of the season anyway, but you made 35 appearances. Is that league and cup?
Yeah, league and cup, that is.
Yeah. So 35 appearances. These are good stats. 15 clean sheets, and only 27 goals conceded in those 35 games. I mean, that's even at any level, that's some stats, really, isn't it? That's good going.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's something that I sort of use as a motivator, to sort of have good stats, and it's something that I sort of pride myself on at any club I'm at. I think, it's just in my mindset to sort of have a nice looking sort of CV, if that makes sense, when it comes out.
Yeah,
and
well,
just
in your world, you need it, don't you?
Yeah, and just for the club to sort of just in general, I just think it looks good when you're coming up against teams that analyze you, because they start to then get that sort of hoodoo where they're thinking, mate, they're not, we can't score, like they're not conceding and stuff like that. So yeah, obviously massively proud of them. Obviously it's not just down to myself.
No.
It's very easy. I think when it comes to goals, the strikers take the credit, and when it comes down to clean sheets, the goalies get it. But it's a team effort. It's from the management to the players that we had. I mean, my defense was fantastic. My midfield was fantastic. My forwards were fantastic. So it's all it's a group effort, if that makes sense. So I don't want it to sort of just look like it's all on me, because I can well assure you some of my teammates sort of bailed me out at times, and I bailed them out at times. So it's all sort of as a team, and we had like a fantastic sort of squad. And I mean that from the 22 players that we had to pick from. I mean, everyone sort of put their shift in for what was sort of a fantastic season for the club.
So how did the move come about then? Because where did you finish the season before? Were you you finished it with North Greenford before the season before? Yeah.
No, so I finished it at Southall. So I was
Southall, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah, so we got to the playoff semi-final against Leatherhead, and again, sort of touched on that Southall team. I think that was the highest finish the club had ever accumulated. And yeah, it was a really historic season. Unfortunately, we fell just short of Leatherhead. I wasn't in the squad, unfortunately. Obviously, I travelled to go and support the boys. I was in the stands. I mean, they lost on penalties, which was gut wrenching, because again, it was sort of so close. But yeah, obviously finished up with them. Had a conversation. It was fairly clear that, as I said before, that I sort of was only there on a temporary basis. It was never sort of to be settled. And as I sort of said earlier, as I touched on, to sort of play 18 or whatever it is games, only obviously lose one, but also when you were only supposed to play one, you've got 17 more games so out of it. So I must have sort of done something right. But again, appreciations to the management and for giving me that opportunity to sort of step up, because as a young goalkeeper, it takes a lot for a manager to sort of put that trust into sort of me. So yeah, again, really grateful for that, because it only sort of developed me as obviously not just a person, but as obviously a player.
So how did they move? When did who contacted you at Cockfosters then?
Yeah, so I'd been made aware that their goalkeeper had stepped away from football.
Okay.
So I had a friend that told me that because just non-league gossip.
Mm.
I sort of knew one of the coaches there, and I heard that they were sort of interested in me. Again, off of the grapevine, so nothing sort of confirmed. One of the coaches I knew not well, but knew well enough to sort of reach out, and I sort of just
Yeah.
said, "Look, hit the nail on the head, if that makes sense." Instead of sort of trying
Yeah.
to beat around the bush, and I just said, "Look," I said, "I've heard that you're looking for a goalkeeper. Uh, I was wanted to stay at step four, but I sort of realised that maybe the best thing for me to do is go and express myself at step five, and then do the hard work and get back up to step four at some
Yeah.
point."
Yeah.
So yeah, and then it just sort of materialised from there. Really, I mean, spoke to the gaffer. I sort of held out, if I'm honest with you, not for any reason I didn't want to be there. I didn't know anyone there, so I was very
Mm.
unsure. And then I spoke to my mate Serge, who really helps me out behind the scenes. So massive shout out to him. He's a goalie coach. He's been at some really big clubs like Hadley and
Mm.
whatnot. But yeah, I spoke to him. He really sort of guided me really well. My dad obviously again came in and guided me really well. And yeah, I just made the decision, spoke to the manager, and yeah, just accepted it, and went from there really.
And how did you find the level? Obviously, going on the stats, it seems like you had a good season. But how did you find the level going from then again, like coming down from step four, I mean, with that experience down to step five, where you hadn't played step five because you missed it completely. You
Mm.
went from step six straight to step four. So how did you find the level, and how did you find the league? Because I know the Spartan League quite well. Being that the area that I live in, I live near quite a lot of the teams in that whole league, and all the divisions. So how did you find the league?
Yeah.
I've actually coached in that league as well. To be fair.
Yeah, I mean, so I was quietly confident going into the season. Again, I couldn't, touching on what I said earlier, I couldn't have told you anything about who should be where in the
Mm.
league. I just sort of turned up and played, but from the experiences I had and the confidence that I gained and whatnot, and from Southall, obviously, I don't like to say dropping down because I think it's disrespectful, but obviously
Yeah.
going to Cockfosters, I just, yeah, I was just really quietly confident that, I owed it to myself a bit as well, that I wanted to do well. I wanted to really sort of prove that, that I'm not just an average goalkeeper,
Yeah.
that, I've maybe got something to sort of show, and I obviously needed the platform to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, no, obviously with the league, I found it really interesting, to be honest with you. It's certainly a tough league. One week you're playing on a fantastic surface, the next you're playing in a park.
Mm.
Um, there's people that take it massively serious, which is obviously really good to see at that level. And there's teams that just want to fight you and punch you, and it's like you've sort of got to try and adapt to whatever game's in front of you.
Yeah.
I come off a game. I can't remember who it was against, but like I was just battered and bruised. Like they just put the ball up in the air,
Really.
and I kept coming out, and I kept coming out, and every time I come out in my head, I was just like I just knew, catch it, shut your
Yeah.
eyes, and just wait for the right.
Waiting for
And then there
the
was
yeah.
yeah, and then there was other games where it was more technical. Like it was more
Yeah.
obviously. I like to think I can play with my feet, so it was more sort of spraying the ball about. There was other games where it was just smash it long and hope for the best. So yeah, I mean, it's a very good league, and for any sort of young player, if I ever had to drop back into that league, whether it's in a few years, if it's after I've gone a bit higher, if it's whatever, I would. I think it's a very respectable league, and
Yeah. Look,
yeah,
it's a very, very good league to be in. It's sort of at step five. It's that sort of mix of semi-pro and amateur, and sort of the top end of amateur. There's some very good teams in that league. Like I said, I live we've got Dunstable Town near me. They're a good side. I know a couple of the coaches. One of the coaches there. MK Irish is up the road from me, who won the league
Yeah,
this season. Well, how
yeah,
did you
that
find
was.
them? How did you find them?
I mean, absolute credit to them. I think the season before, so that the big talking point of the league was the fact that they pushed Real Bedford to like
It was
the
they were desperately unlucky the season
yeah.
before.
I mean, when we played them, obviously we had fantastic sort of battles. I think we drew 2-2 and we lost 3-1.
Yeah,
But I mean, as a club, I mean, like absolute hats off to them. They've done it the right way. I believe sort of they don't pay a lot
they
of
have a
money.
yeah they've got a weird sort of system of how they play how they pay their players, and it kind of works out that I can't remember what it is now, but it kind of works out that they don't actually pay their players a great deal. But
Mm,
what the guy that manages them, what he's done is he's created a squad that like you said earlier, they want to play for him and they'll run
mm,
through brick walls for him no matter what. And look, like I said the season before, they were so unlucky to not to lose to Real Bedford, even though the points that they ended up with would have won the league anyway
yeah.
without Real Bedford, and then to do it all again, the same squad essentially this season and smash it. Yeah, they've done really well, like you say.
What,
Absolutely smashed it.
what's Cockfosters like as a club? Is it a decent ground, or is it nice changing rooms, or what's the people around the club? What's it? Would you rate Cockfosters like?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very, very unique club. First of all, it's run superbly by the chairman, who has just an absolute love for football and sort of his work that he does with the youth teams and promoting the youth into the team. I think we had 8, 9 youth players represent us in the first team and come up and do superbly. They have real sort of good pathways for youth players because they have a reserve team playing in the county league, which again is a respectable level for a reserve side. So on that front, it's a fantastic club. I honestly enjoyed my time there so much. Obviously, the people were fantastic. Not even just the players and management and the group. The supporters. That there is only a handful, but the handful make it feel like there's a lot more. So I've only got respect for them. I honestly really enjoyed my time there. And again, facilities wise, like I think everyone will sort of probably say that the ground isn't as big as others, and the facilities aren't as probably nice as others. But to me that doesn't matter. It's all about the people,
Mm,
and
mm,
they work with what they've got, and they do fantastic to obviously compete last year with the resources they have, but also, as I say, as a community club, um, they're putting on darts nights, they're putting on horse racing nights that you're still getting 90, 100 people come to. So yeah, as a club, couldn't speak more highly of the people and just everything about it. Really, I really, really, hope that people sort of probably give them a bit more credit than what maybe they already get.
yeah.
Because yeah, when you're in there and when you're part of it, it really is a special sort of football club to represent, and something I'm really proud that I've done.
Yeah, I thought I'd ask that question because most people know sort of Cockfosters as being one end of the Piccadilly line, don't they? But it's so that's how to get there. By the way, if you want to go, down the Piccadilly line, the purple one. But yeah, obviously your time then at Cockfosters came to an end in a bit of a well, strange circumstances, shall we say? And then you ended up playing for Chesham, didn't you? How did the move come around with Chesham at sort of a National League South level, and how did you get on there?
Yeah, I mean, with the Chesham bit, do you want me to touch on obviously the Cockfosters bit, or do you want me to?
Yeah, whatever. Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
because obviously I think a lot of people had sort of questions about it. I know obviously Adam, you sort of were quite
It was
quick
a bit,
to
well,
text
for
me.
want of
Yeah,
a better word, it was a bit of a shock when we heard that you were leaving. And like I said, yeah, me and you spoke about it by messaging and all that. But yeah, carry on. So how did what happened? If what you can say or what you can't say, I don't know.
yeah. I mean, obviously I know sort of people probably look to my Twitter and stuff like that. Like I haven't commented on anything.
Yeah,
Obviously, I sort of don't really understand it myself, so I'm never
mm,
gonna sort of try and comment on a subject or anything like that that I don't have full understanding of. But yeah, I mean, obviously we were doing really well. We hit a really hard patch in the season where we just come back off a lot of postponed games, where, you know, obviously, unfortunately, our pitch wasn't the greatest, which again isn't the club's fault. It's no one's fault. You know, we've been experiencing like really, really wet winters, and really dry summers as we're sort of experiencing now. So obviously the pitches are getting a battering, and unfortunately, unless someone wants to sort of, everyone's very quick to criticize, but if you don't have these people criticizing, if they want to sort of get 60 grand out of their pocket or wherever the cost is and seed the pitch, then I think they've got a right to criticize. But yeah, we basically come off not really playing. We went through the end of February and March where we just started to drop points. Again, it wasn't really anything of any individuals doing. It was just as a group, we just sort of were struggling, I think, to find
Clubs
that
go through
form.
sticky patches, don't they? Clubs go through sticky patches.
And yeah, basically we played London Lions on the Saturday. We really narrowly lost 1-0. Again, not really anyone's fault. I mean, we could have probably scored a few chances. We struggled in front of goal a little bit. We only had like one recognised sort of striker, who was fantastic. And again, it's not the boys' fault. It just happens. But yeah, and then I sort of just, it was a Thursday. I was just got in the office at work, and I just got a phone call. Well, I got asked if I was free for a chat. I got a phone call, and basically, obviously, I won't go into details because it's obviously a private conversation. Obviously, I want to respect. But yeah, I just got told that there's another goalie coming in, and you know, sort of almost your time's done. Which, yeah, I mean, take that how sort of you will.
Yeah, well, you mean with your record that you had, I thought, yeah, sort of. It seems to me, and I'll probably go for say the same as everybody else would. It seems like you dealt with quite harshly there, really. But it's the thing with goalkeepers, isn't it? They kind of when you got a manager who's maybe lost a bit of faith in you, possibly, or they got someone else in mind who they've worked with before, possibly. As a goalkeeper, you kind of like, it's the one position where you have to have sort of maximum 100% faith, I think, and maybe that waned a little bit, and you ended up on the wrong side of it. Unfortunately, which is a shame. But like you say though, in football, sometimes bad things happen, and then it leads to good things. So obviously that then led you to Chesham and playing at the National South levels. How did that sort of come around? Were you approached by them, or did you know somebody there, and you just the conversation went from there? How did that come around?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I sort of obviously I left sort of obviously completely fine with Cockfosters. I mean, obviously, just to put on record, I completely respect the manager's decision, regardless of if I'm playing in you know, a Sunday league pitch. If I'm playing for my dad, Rainers Lane, or whoever, I completely respect that he's done what he feels is best for the team. Obviously, you know, they obviously didn't go up, and that was the goal. But you know, I just want to make it, obviously, I'm really, really sort of grateful to the management at Cockfosters for allowing me to have the platform to play and to play 35 games. So I'm trying to see it as a positive, but
absolutely.
But yeah, no, I don't want it to sort of come across like, you know, I haven't got respect for them. You know, I spent almost a year with them. Obviously, I'm massively gutted with how it ended, and obviously watching from afar with the playoffs. But yeah, you know, obviously, just to put out there, like, obviously the gaffer was fantastic to me. It's just a decision that he made that, you know, openly, I don't understand it. I don't think many people do, but I don't really care about anyone else. I just care that I didn't understand it. But again, he's the manager. It's his job on the line at the time, and he done what he think was right. So I completely respect his decision. And, you know, obviously I wish everyone there the best, and hopefully, fingers crossed, as much as it was sort of sad to not finish the story that we started through that season. I hope that this year, you know, I'd be very happy to see them competing again, and you know, if they could go one better, I would personally be the first one to be shouting the praises of everyone there. So yeah, I just want to sort of put that out there.
I think it was very, very well said, Charlie. There, and
you took it better than I would have done anyway.
Yeah.
No,
Simon holds grudges big time.
Yeah. No, look, like I say, it's football. I think
exactly.
the main thing for me that probably got to me the most, and I'll come on to the sort of the other stuff, but the one thing that I sort of touched on was about the finishing the story and finishing the journey that we had, and it was painful, obviously, watching the players from afar because openly, I'm happy to say this. I feel that I could have given that extra percent or 5% that potentially was needed to get it over the line and to get the club what they deserve and the group what they deserve, which was to be sitting on the pitch with playoff winners medals. So it was a hard one to take, but as I say, that's football. Decisions obviously happen, and unfortunately, I was involved in one that was obviously controversial with, I think, online. There's a lot of things online about it. But as I say, obviously, I don't really listen to other people. I just respected the gaffer's position and moved on.
Yeah, you've taken it. You've taken the decision. You took the decision well. You've moved on. Look, you're not the first person in the player that's happened to, and you certainly won't be the last. I just hope that other players that might watch this will take some experience from what you're saying and take on board and try and deal with those sort of situations as magnanimously as you have. But that led you on to something, like Simon said, that's opened the door to something better. To me.
Yeah.
So who contacted who from Cheshire United?
So the gaffer just reached out to me through someone that I knew. So I was actually, obviously, my mindset, being again openly honest, was in the gutter after the decision, and I wanted to sort of step away for the season. I had a few offers to sort of stay in and become a number one for the running. Some clubs in the same league as Cockfosters, some a bit higher. But my mindset was I just didn't want to do anything half-hearted. And again, I keep talking about it, but so grateful for people I had around me because they sort of got me in. I went to go see a goalkeeper mindset coach, who again was really fantastic and kept me in the game. And then obviously I kept sharp, kept going, didn't let it affect me. And I mean, I just got this opportunity to sort of go and have a 6-week period almost with a National League South club, which was obviously it felt a bit rewarding for the season, but again, an opportunity that not everyone can sort of say that they had. And although I didn't play, it was like probably one of the most beneficial 6 weeks or 2 months in of probably my football career so far.
Yeah, if people don't know, you were actually at the Farnborough match, weren't you? When we played Chesham away at Chesham Ground, and myself and Alan came over and said hello to you, didn't you?
Again, we'd like to forget.
I mean, I didn't get on the bench or anything like that. Obviously, I think there's a rule as well where you can only have like 5 on the bench, something like that. Now, I didn't really look into it, but that wasn't really the goal. The goal was never to, play. I know I'm probably not ready for that level yet. But it was, I was going in, I was training with the first team goalkeeper, and I was obviously traveling to some of the games I went to were unbelievable. And it was in a period where I think Chesham were obviously winning. We're going on some mental run. And like I say, it was just a fantastic sort of piece, sort of last piece of the puzzle to complete what for me was a really personal, fantastic season.
Yeah, it's a really good level, the National League South. Very hard, very professional. There's a lot, like we spoke of off air, didn't we, about the amount of players coming down who are almost full-time people, and for someone like yourself to come in from sort of a quite a lesser level, to be frank, and then to be able to train with a first team goalkeeper, and you're on the pitch warming up, and you were. And obviously, when the chosen goalkeeper was off doing their final preparations, etc., you were out on the pitch taking shots and doing all the bits and pieces there. So yes, I think it's a really, really good experience for you. And obviously, we can't say anything else about it yet. But there's a good chance. Hopefully, you'll be there. You'll be there hopefully next season as well, which would be quite nice. Hopefully, fingers crossed. If that all goes well, that'd be really good for you. And hopefully, you can get dual registration again and play some matches as well as it. So yeah, good things are looking up for you, I think, Charlie.
Yeah, no. As I say, I didn't really take it. I think you've got to be realistic with yourself. And I'm 23. I've come from well, I've just turned 23, but I've come from Sunday League, and to obviously earn that right to go and
Mm,
train with them sort of players and whatnot was fantastic. So yeah, it was just another learning curve for me. And I say sort of tasting the level, although I didn't play in it or sort of I wasn't on the bench, I was just traveling. It was still obviously it was nice to taste it, and it's something that, I believe one day I'll return to when the time's right to potentially play. But as I say, I've got to go earn sort of my badges to at the
yeah,
moment in the lower levels to go and earn the right to get the move. So
yeah,
yeah, just focused on that really. But yeah, obviously I haven't discussed next year yet. I'm trying to enjoy the off season as much as you can, but obviously it ends up creeping up on you pre-season. But yeah, no, obviously as I say, obviously just really fortunate and again really grateful to the opportunity that sort of came around. It's something that obviously I've got my name on the back of a shirt
yeah.
for an example, which again not everyone can say they've got. So yeah, it's just again just a surreal experience that I'll take, and hopefully it'll build me for the next move or opportunity I can get.
And how did you find the level of coaching at step two, coming from being at step four, coming from step five, and now straight up to gone from literally you've gone straight from step five to step two. How did you find that level of coaching in difference?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's so much more professional
Mm,
to start with, and that's no disrespect to anyone in the lower
yeah,
levels. It's just when people are planning sessions and they've got a lot more time and resources, it's obviously going to be a lot better.
mm,
I definitely like my first session was a shock. I was definitely like, wow, like you've got to be switched on at all times. Like if you take your eye off the ball,
yeah,
um, you're going to struggle. But again, the only way you're going to learn is sort of by being thrown in the deep end and getting bullied a little bit and getting beaten up. So again, going in and just getting my head down for the 6 weeks and training hard, being there, traveling to places like Torquay, which, I left at like 5 in the morning. And again, another experience that I'll take away.
Well, especially as
yeah,
you won.
Yeah, yeah, it was. I mean, it was an unreal away day as well. Like yeah, again, I think Torquay were up there again. Like just to sort of prove the point, I don't really look at the league. I know there's a lot. It was hard not to look at that league because there was so much like media coverage about the top seven because I think everyone could win it at one point. It was like it went into the last day and seven teams
yeah,
could win it, but Torquay were obviously up there. And again, to go to a team like that, I think I went from playing at London Lions a week or
yeah,
two weeks
exactly.
before it in front of 50 people to warming up in front of like 3,000 people,
Yeah,
3,600 or something like that. Yeah. So it was
yeah.
just like,
What
wow.
going what's going through your head at that point when you're standing there in the middle of the pitch at Torquay United in front of 3,500 people, going from
Uh,
after doing that against the likes of London Lions or MK Irish. What's
just
going through your head at that point? You're looking around thinking, "Blimey, bloody hell! Do you know what I mean what have I done to deserve
It's a
this?"
cracking ground as well, Playmore. So
yeah,
it's one of to do an away trip there is like probably a lot of people probably say it's a pinnacle of non-league. To be fair, playing at Playmore,
Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
proper nice ground, really really old club. I mean, they shouldn't be at National South level; they should be a league club, really.
mm,
And they it's a great ground. Even a lot of players who've played there have said it's like everyone looked forward to it. Even we had a chat with the Farnborough manager a few times last season. They just when the fixtures come out, he's just hoping. Mark White at Dawkins said exactly the same thing as Spencer did as well. About everyone wants to go and play away at Torquay in the summertime so they can have a nice weekend away, and it's much nicer there in the summertime instead of the winter and that sort of thing. But everyone's looking for the Torquay away day basically, and just hoping they get a good sit with the fixtures. But sorry, Charlie, I cut you off there. Yeah, what was it? What was your experience at Playmore like? Was it something you remember? I hope.
yeah, 100%. I mean, I've been fortunate enough to sort of I had an opportunity where I went to Chesterfield a few years back with Willstone, just as a trainee keeper, and sort of so I'd felt sort of being in a stadium before, but again, obviously being really part of the group this time instead of just being that
yeah,
outsider. Yeah, obviously I knew I wasn't going to play. I knew I wasn't on the bench or anything like that very early on. Obviously the gaffer invited me to come along. but yeah, so just looking around, just sort of thinking, wow, like, you know, this is like the pinnacle of non-league football. And as you said, obviously, it didn't feel like non-league football. It felt like, you know, it felt like I've played at Bournemouth ground on a in like a charity game,
Yeah,
and it actually felt like that. It had that same
really.
sort of vibe. So yeah, and yeah, I just took everything in. Again, I learned what I had to do. You know, I did the warm up always professionally and to help obviously the number one at the time, sort of being the
Mm.
best position for the game. That's what my role basically was. And yeah, like, you know, I just sort of realized like this is the level that I want to be at. So I
Yeah,
want to sort of do the extra bits, do what I need to do to one day, you know, obviously with goalkeepers, they're gone on much longer. So the time is sort of obviously of the essence, but to just keep working hard and use that as my motivation to sort of get up the leagues and work hard to get to that, so that can become a sort of, instead of it being a one-off, more, you know, normal
yeah, no,
sort of
absolutely.
thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, before we let you go, and before we touch on what's next for you, I just want to talk about your dad quickly, because obviously, like after Rayners Lane, and coming full circle now with Rayners Lane, but after Rayners Lane, he had some time out of football, not coaching or anything like that. Well, I think he was with with the county FA as well, wasn't he? He was doing some
Yeah,
games
yeah,
for the
yeah.
county
He did
FA, wasn't he?
the rep team. Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah,
again, he
yeah,
won. I think he won the trophy with them in that short period.
yeah,
I think it was like
yeah.
two games, but again, yeah, like obviously it
Yeah,
was yeah, again another good obviously thing for
yeah.
his sort of
He's done.
CV.
Obviously, yeah, it's exactly. Yeah, exactly. And it seems to be. Obviously, we don't know him obviously as well as you or at all. But everywhere he's been so far, he seems to have done really well. So obviously, Rayners Lane, he got the promotion and the cup. With this county FA side, he's obviously won a trophy with them. His first step back into management was with Edgware. Edgware, is it Edgware Town? Um,
Yeah, yeah, Edgeware.
and
So
they who were
yeah,
struggling with relegation or against relegation, and he's brought them. He's come in and got them out and survived the relegation. Um, and now we've all seen the video of his announcement. He's back at Rayners Lane. He's gone full circle and he's come back home
yeah,
basically.
yeah. I mean, obviously, it massively affected everyone what happened the first time around at Rayners Lane,
Yeah.
and it's enough to demotivate you to keep you out of the game.
Mm,
I mean, there's players that I played with that haven't unfortunately come back into the game since that, which is
really.
obviously which is massively gutting to sort of see and hear. But I don't think people realise how big football clubs become to people.
Mm,
And whatnot. But obviously, as I say, he sort of took that step in. I think he was missing it. I think one thing that he did say to me was, when you're in it, you hate it and you want
yeah.
to get out of it. But when you're not in it, you want to get in it.
Yeah.
So it's
Exactly.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's like you don't realize what you've got until it's gone. And I think he had obviously a few offers, which isn't surprising for obviously the ability of,
Mm,
and as you say, his CV. And yeah, I think people, including myself, you want the honest truth. I thought, you know, you're absolutely mental taking over a team that are 20th in the league, can't
yeah.
score, and have got a bunch of kids playing. But obviously, he went in there with, you know, you've got to remember he didn't sign any players. He had
Mm,
he had basically the same team.
yeah.
Again, it's another club that unfortunately haven't got the finances like other people have in that league. And I think his again, obviously I wasn't there, but I believe that if you look up on like his stats, I think you had Egham Town who won the league,
Yeah.
and Amersham Town who obviously have very sort of healthy budgets,
Mm,
and two very well-established clubs. And I think at one point he was top of the form table, um, with a club that were like dead and buried, basically relegated,
yeah.
accepted it. So yeah, I mean, obviously to go in and do that, it pretty much speaks for it. I don't really need to say much about it. It sort of
No.
speaks for itself, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, it shows the measure of him as a person and as a coach and a manager that he's gone into a club like Edgware that was struggling and showed how good, just as a motivator, he is to get them working as hard as they did to get themselves out of trouble. And I guess he's basically put everything on them to say said to them basically this is on you. You've got to get yourself out of this. And he's just giving them the tools to do it, and he's done it, and it's earned him the job back at Rayners Lane for this current season, back at
Yeah.
back at the club.
Yeah, no, 100%.
And so with that, obviously, tongues are going to be wagging, obviously, with you now, not with the club, but what's next? What's next for Charlie Patmore next this
Yeah,
season?
I mean, obviously, and I'm really grateful because it's always nice to be and to feel wanted. Obviously, I had a lot of sort of interest. I went and met a few managers. Um, Obviously at sort of different levels. Some at the level I was at, some at the level above. But obviously for me, and obviously I know you guys obviously know more than anything, but obviously Rayners Lane is a club that I've been at for, I think I was there for 6 years, come through the under 18s and played. I couldn't tell. I used to know the number. I think it's like 125, 135 games for him. And yeah, so I mean, obviously, I sat down with my dad and we had a good chat, and we both feel that, obviously the step up was probably always going to happen this season, to go back up to step four where I was obviously at before I dropped down.
Yeah,
But to do it with someone that I know, away from obviously just being my dad, but being under a manager that I know is going to progress me in the right way, not just as a player but as a person. It makes sort of complete sense. So yeah, obviously, when this goes out, I don't know what sort of Twitter will be looking like, but yeah, I'm going back to Rayners Lane if that is sort of what people wanna hear.
Yeah, and that's and obviously that's going to be hopefully on a dual registration type basis. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I haven't really sorted out the ins and outs of everything. As I say, I've been to Greece, Morocco, and Spain to watch Spurs in the Europa League final. So honestly, I've just switched off from it, and yeah, up the Spurs, but European champions, if no one knew,
yeah,
just in case. But yeah, no, I've just sort of tried to take a bit of a step back from it. But yeah, I haven't really done that. My main goal was obviously the Chesham sort of situation served its purpose to me for the remainder of that season.
yeah,
But the goal for me has to be, it's in my DNA to be a number one and to
yeah,
go and play. I just can't sit around and not do it. So the first sort of line of call was to go and find a club where I could just get signed, settled. You're the number one for the
yeah,
season. You deal with it. And as I say, some of the conversations I had with managers made it really hard. I think a lot of people would think it would be a lot more clear cut because it's your dad or whatnot, but it was a lot more harder than what probably even I expected. But I know I've sort of made the right decision. Obviously, the club's sort of not what we left it at. It's not in the same sort of, I don't want to say state because you've got to hats off to the people that did go in, as much as
yeah,
obviously it was massively controversial. And, I think a lot of people speak about the funding and how much, that they got a club promoted to step four for the
yeah,
first time and won loads of
yeah,
trophies. So regardless how you do it, if you do it by not having a budget or having a budget, you just got to put your hats off. And I think they had a manager called um, Mark Dacey, who's just gone to Dulwich and Hamlet. And again, like he's got them a step four trophy. And obviously the investor obviously put that money in to get that. So you've got to help them and give them the credit.
yeah,
But yeah, obviously we're now sort of coming into a complete sort of restart. There's
yeah,
no budget. There's basically no budget. There's no one retained from last season. A lot of the people on the committee and behind the scenes have changed. So it's a complete rebuild. But again, like at Edgware, the person that you want at the helm of that is obviously sort of Scott because
yeah.
he's proven to sort of work in difficult circumstances and get the results.
No, absolutely, absolutely. And for someone like you, because you're young as well, like you say, you're only just 23. It's all well and good having someone like Cheshire United on your CV, on your footballing CV, and being part of a really good club like that at a really good level. But at the end of the day, you need games. That's what you need. Someone your age, you need to be playing football, and that's massively important. Massively more important than being a sort of backup for a team that you may never get to play for.
Yeah,
So I
no,
think we made the right decision in going back to Rainers Lane, and almost like I say, we're coming in full circle. Your
yeah,
career's coming full circle in a minute.
I know, yeah, and like I say, it makes logical sense as well in everything. Just as I say, I've done a few training sessions there, and it just feels like I'm back home. You know, I remember I turned around to my dad, and I was just like, it feels right. It just feels, but no, yeah. Look, I mean, I'm not someone that's got an ego. I think a lot of people now, egos are a big killer, and if everything went sort of wrong, I would go and get my gloves and boots and go and play step 7, step 8, just to keep myself ticking over and just to play football, And I think a lot of goalkeepers now don't sort of see it like that. They see like, oh, I can't go there because it doesn't look as good as what this looks. And actually, if I'm one of them people, I don't really take notice of what people think. I just want to go and play football, and I know that playing football is the best sort of route to me going and achieving sort of my long-term goals in non-league and potentially obviously sort of the professional game.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like I said, you're doing the right thing. I think as a young player, it's the move that needs to happen. Just to be playing games, and like I said, you're back with your dad, who obviously you know really well and have been managed under before. But yeah, look, Simon, have you got anything you want to add?
No, not really. Only to say that sometimes in life you have a setback, but you come sometimes, and then it leads to other things. And it's good that it's happened to you. 'Cause you're a hardworking, nice fella. You deserve the success that you're getting. Now, hopefully, from this season, you can push on and maybe even get even higher. Obviously, playing for Joe Rayners Lane will be a good thing for you, and also doing the training with Cheshire will only improve you. And you never know, you might end up playing at Cheshire. You never know this season. You just never know. So you just got to keep at it. I know you will, because you've got the right attitude and the right mindset to do it. You just got to keep at it, keep turning up, keep fighting, and then you never know. Their goalkeeper might get injured, or they might end up selling him, and there you are, Charlie Patmore, number 1. There you go.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Yeah, no, like I say, just gonna get my head down this year. Try and obviously politics can come in at any time, like it did last season. But all I'm gonna do is just, I say I've been working really hard, like even running and stuff, which isn't enjoyable, and doing the extra bit. So yeah, like it's just the mindset's still the same.
No, I know. Yeah, you can say you've been on these little holidays, and I know we chatted while you was in. I think you was in Greece when we last chatted. And you were on a running machine training it, and normally people will be out on the beach going for swims and having parties and that, but not you, not Charlie Patmore. Charlie Patmore this is where your mindset is. I mean, you're trying to keep yourself in shape and keep fit.
I don't get me wrong. I definitely did go on the beach and sit down and stuff, right? But no, like I mean, I was just waking up everywhere sort of I went. Obviously, I made sure like the hotel would have a gym. And whatnot, and like I say, obviously we had like all inclusive and stuff like that, but I'd actually go and eat like the healthy sort of options there and do the right thing. So yeah, like as I say, I'll just sort of keep reverting back, but it's just I just want to get my head down, in work hard, enjoy the season, and whatever happens will happen. I just want to make sure that I'm in the right sort of mindset and physical way to, if when the opportunity does come, wherever that may be, or whatever comes up, I'm in my best shape to sort of face it.
Yeah, I'm not the same as you, Charlie. When I went to one of the Greek, I went to Crete. I did the same thing when I had the all inclusive. Kept away from all the bad stuff. You know what I mean? None of them from us.
Yeah, what you can't see, Charlie, is you're only seeing this part, Charlie. You can't see the rest of it. It's filling out the chair.
I did have a look around. I did have a look at the gym, but I decided it weren't for me. So I actually did go running along the beach. I ended up getting lost. I don't know where I was.
Yeah.
On the main road somewhere. So yeah,
Yeah,
that was a few years ago. Though.
yeah, it is hard. It is hard. Don't get me wrong. Like, obviously, I still enjoyed it. Like, I still had like obviously the odd thing and whatnot. I just didn't go mental like
Yeah.
you probably would. But no, yeah, obviously, don't get me wrong. It's obviously a really just nice, relaxing thing. But as I keep saying to you, it just feels like the season just keeps getting sort of made earlier and earlier. I think like last year our first game was the 26th of July, which when you think about it, I think it's literally a month today.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think I finished my season on May the 15th. So it's just like you've got like a month to go and you
Not
can't
long at all, is it?
yeah, and you can't sort of switch off because if you switch off, you're gonna go back and just feel knackered.
Yeah.
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 Exactly.
I
Yeah.
don't know about you, but we know Farnborough are starting training tomorrow. They've got their
Yeah.
first session, and then they've got their first friendly on Saturday week against Cobham away. I don't know what Cheshire are up to. Probably similar, I should imagine. But yeah, like I said, there isn't really much of a pre-season anymore, is it? And like I said, a lot of the players at this level, they don't step away and they don't come back like 3 stone overweight and all that sort of stuff. They pretty much keep themselves ticking over, and it's quite important now. Is it? I think player fitness is key, and yeah, you're doing the right thing. Keep yourself in shape. It'll only help you. Hope we start the season. No one likes pre-season. It's really hard, but at least you can make it a bit easier on yourself.
Yeah, no, 100%. That's exactly it.
Yeah, cool. Happy days.
Well, we'll let you go, Charlie. We'll just say that thanks for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you again. Obviously, we chat a little bit outside of this anyway. I'll try and get. I think we'll try and get to a few Rangers Lane games. Now you're back in, maybe a friendly or two as well. And yeah, so thanks for coming on. It's been an absolute blast.
Oh no, Rogers, listen, thank you for obviously having me, and like I say, obviously we'll catch up, and hopefully, I say we'll get you down to a game and
Yeah.
whatnot. But yeah, no, listen, really appreciate you sort of giving me the opportunity to sort of come on and just speak sort of about my experiences and whatnot.
No worries. Just so people are listening, what's your socials, handles, etc. Because if people want to follow your journey, etc.
It's just my name. Everything's just my name.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm famous enough for people to sort of have my name as their name, if that makes sense. But
Yeah.
I know some people do that. But no, it's just my name. So if
Yeah.
you search me up on whatever, Instagram, Twitter, I'm all on them. So yeah.
I'll say that now. Now for Twitter, it's at Chazza Patmore 1. That's where you
There
are
you
on Twitter, at Chazza Patmore 1. But yeah, so we've been following you since the last time we spoke to you. So we've been following your journey so far, and we're going to continue following your journey because like Simon said, you've got a great mindset, great attitude, and we know that you're going to go quite far in the game as well, and we're looking forward to seeing that happen.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, boys. Thank you.
Yeah, look forward to seeing you match of the day in a few years' time.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Not only if they
when you do, don't forget about us.
Only if they do the coverage of the lower leagues, but you have to wait. Do you know what I mean?
You're not taking Lineker's job, no?
Definitely not. Definitely not.
Good stuff.
He's too young for that. Too young for that in a minute.
Yeah.
But look, don't go away, Charlie. We'll have a little chat off here when we come off. That leaves me to say that this episode was sponsored by Tratec Consulting, taking your business visions and turning them into innovative reality. For more information, visit tratecconsulting.co.uk. Don't forget, everybody, thanks for watching on YouTube. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of this. Simon, say good night.
Yeah, thanks very much for listening. Cheers, Charlie, for your time again. As always, look forward to catching up with you again later in the season. Best of luck.
Cheers,
and that's it. And that's it for us. We will be back probably in a week or two with another episode as our own club, Farnborough Football Club, as their pre-season friendlies start to unfold. So we'll be back pretty soon.